Bottom of the Yamid, I believe, right?
Yeah.
We're towards the bottom of the Yamid. The first word on the line is Azmane. We have a lot to learn today. Azmane. Yes. Boimine Rav Yosef. Right there. Of Gimel Amid Beis. Boimine Rav Yosef Bereid Rav Nechunya Rav Yehuda. Yeah, the following question was asked. So again, we're continuing here to talk about the inyanim of tefillin and how to give the proper honor for tefillin. And here we're going to talk about where would you store the tefillin. Is a person allowed to store his tefillin when he goes to sleep at night below his pillow, under his head? So the Gemara explains, whether a person is allowed to place the tefillin below his feet when he's sleeping, that's not a question. Of course, you're embarrassing the tefillin. We'll see soon in the Gemara, the point of this is a person goes to sleep at night and he doesn't have a place where to safeguard his tefillin. He's afraid someone might steal it, someone might take it away, whatever. So he wants to safeguard his tefillin. But putting it below your feet is not an option. Kikami bayali, where and when is the question? Tachas merashaisav. Mai, are you allowed to place the tefillin below your head when you're going to sleep? Amalei, so he answered, Hachi Shmuel, this is what Shmuel said, Mutter, it's permitted. And he even added, Afile ishta imai, even if he's in the bed together with his wife, still it's allowed. So the Gemara asks on this, Meisvei, a question from a Braise, where it seems to say that you're not allowed. A person should not place the tefillin below his feet. You're embarrassing the tefillin. You're allowed to place it under your head when you go to sleep. But then the Braisa adds, if he's together with his wife, aser, then it's forbidden. So it's a clear contradiction. The Gemara concludes the Braisa, if he has a ledge above his head that's 3 tvachim above his head, or below his bed, 3 tvachim below his head, mutter, that's permitted. To Yufta, the Shmuel, this refutes the statement of Shmuel. To Yufta, yeah, Yitaka refutes the statement of Shmuel. But now the Gemara says, Omarave, Afagav the Tanya to Yufta the Shmuel, although we have a clear Braisa that's refuting the opinion of Shmuel, Hilchas the Kavasei, the halacha that he said that you may put the tefillin below your head when you go to sleep, the halacha remains like Shmuel. What's the reason? My timer. Kol linturinu tfeyadif. Anytime you want to try to protect your tefillin, that it shouldn't be stolen, is more important than the fact that you may be embarrassing the tefillin and treating it that way. It's important to allow a person to protect them, as Rashi says, from achbarim, from ganovim. That's more important.
Who is to watch?
To protect it, yeah, to protect the tefillin. Zog the Gemara. Now we said that the person puts it below his head. But exactly where does he put it? Mamish, right under his head. Rab Yirmiyah says ben kar lekeses. Put it between the pillow and the mattress. Yeah. Shaloi keneged reishi, but not exactly under his head. Put it a bit on the side. Under your pillow, a bit on the side of your head. Frek the Gemara, v'hatani Rab Chia said, manicham b'koiva tachas mirashaisav. You place it in a pouch and you put it under your head. So the Gemara answers, the mapik leile murshe the koiva lebar. It is a pouch, and the pouch is under your head, but in that pouch, part of the pouch is under your head, but then you put the tefillin in the part of the pouch that protrudes, and that part is not under your head. Where the tefillin are, is not going to be directly under your head. Bar Kapare, Tzayir Lahu Bekilte, Bar Kapare would tie the tefillin, he would wrap the tefillin in the curtain that would be hanging around his bed, Umapik, and then he would put it under his head, Umapik Lumersheyen Lebar. And the place where the tefillin was in that curtain, it would protrude outside, not under his head. The point is, he wants to have part of the pouch under his head, so if a ganav wants to steal it, it'll wake him up. If you're going to just put it beside your head, so then a ganav could very, very quietly take it, and you're not going to feel it. So part of the pouch has to be under your head, so you should feel it, if someone wants to take it. But the actual tefillin itself should be beside your head. Rav Sheisha Bereder Ravidi did not want to place it under his head. Manach luar shashifa, he placed the tefillin on a bench, upara sudra elayayu, and he covered it with a sheet. Amar Rav Amnuna Bereder Rav Yosef, Zimna Chode, Have Ka'imna Kamei Rove. I was once standing in front of Rove. And he said to me, Zil Aisili Tefillin, please go bring me my tefillin. And he found, where was his tefillin? Ben Karla Keses, it was between his pillow and the mattress, in the place where he sleeps, but Shaloi Keneged Reisha. It was on the side, not right under his head. And I knew the Yom Tefillah Hava, that was a day of a Yom Tefillah. There's a machlekes Rishayim, whether Yom Tefillah means a Yom Tefillah of his wife, or his Yom Tefillah. But he knew that it was a time that he had relations with his wife. And so now he understood, Rav Amnuna understood that, and what does it say before? Omar Rav Amnuna Bereder Rav Yosef. Yes, Rav Amnuna Bereder Rav Yosef understood that Rav sent him to get the tefillin not because he needed his favor, but he wanted to teach me something. He only sent me to get the tefillin to teach me a halacha l'maisa that a person may have the tefillin in his bed even if his wife is with him. And over there, right under his head, or not exactly right under his head. But the Rishonim all say that, of course, this is only if the tefillin is wrapped in a double covering. Mm-hmm. Then it's allowed to be in the bed. Now, it's not mentioned in the Gemara, correct, but it says clearly in the Rishonim that it's only if it's covered in a double covering. Now the Gemara is going to continue in different kinds of halachas. Most of these halachas are not really practical today. We're talking over here, of course, in a time period for two things. First of all, this is before someone came up with the idea of pajamas. And this is also in a time period where homes didn't have 10 beds in it where everyone had their own bed to sleep in. So we're having theoretically an entire family sleeping in the same bed, under the same blanket, and like I said, before somebody came up with the idea of pajamas. So let's see the Gemara. The following question was asked.
We still have all these questions today.
Yeah, of course. There's halachas Shulchan Aruch. But I'm just saying, practically speaking, this is halachas that then was much more common. Shnayim sheyisheinim b'mita achas. Two people that are sleeping together in the same bed, and they're not dressed. They're going to sleep at night and they're under a blanket. Mahu. What's the halacha regarding Kriya Shema? And how are you going to read Kriya Shema? Shezeh yachse panav v'yikra Kriya Shema. One should turn to one side of the bed. He should turn away from his friend and say Kriya Shema. V'zeh yachse panav v'yikra Kriya Shema. And the other should face the other way and read Kriya Shema. They shouldn't be facing each other, but they should turn away from each other and say Kriya Shema. If they're facing each other, and their bodies may even be touching each other to some extent, so you can't read Kriya Shema in such a situation. And the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch explains, there's a machlekes Rishonim about this, but the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch explains that when a person reads Kriya Shema, and if while he's reading Kriya Shema, he could have impure thoughts, that he's not allowed to read Kriya Shema in such a matziv, and therefore you can't say Kriya Shema. But if they're facing away from each other, they can say Kriya Shema. That's the question. Are you allowed to do this? Amalei, so he answered him, Hochi Yom Shmuel. Shmuel said, yes, it's allowed. And Shmuel said, Vafila ishta yimai. This is allowed whether it's two men, or a person is allowed even if it's his wife as well. So Afila ishta yimai. So Shmuel is saying both are allowed, whether it's two people or a person and his wife. Rav Yosef disagrees. Maskef lo Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef asked on the statement of Shmuel, Ishtoi v'loimi boya acher? Are you saying that if it's a man and his wife, that this is allowed, and needless to say, if it's two men, that it's allowed as well? Adarabba. I would say the opposite, on the contrary. Ishtoi kegufoi, a person that's with his wife, whom he's accustomed to, there he could say Kriya Shema with her in the bed. Acher, but if it's another person whom he's not necessarily accustomed to as his wife, laf kegufoi. It's not like his own body, and therefore, over there, even if he turns away, he may not say Kriya Shema with him. Meisvei, now the Gemara is going to bring up Braise as a question on this opinion of Shmuel. Shnayim sheishene b'mita'achas. Braise discusses this case. Two people are sleeping in the same bed. So what does the Braise say? What do you do? Zeh machse panav v'kaira, v'zeh machse panav v'kaira. Each one could turn away, and now they're back to back, not facing each other, and they can say Kriya Shema. It's one Braise. Tanya Achriti, we have in a different Braise. Hayasham b'mita, a person is in his bed, but ubanav ubnei beisai b'tzidai, and he has his children, his family all with him. Harei zeh lo yikra Kriya Shema, he should not read Kriya Shema, and here the Braise says, Elo unclean haiset talis mafsekes b'nei, and there has to be a garment, some material of clothing to separate between them. So, which means it's not enough to just turn away. But then the Brisa says, if they are young, if they're ktanim, then mutter. Then even with his children and his family in the bed, it's still permitted. The Gemara will soon say what age that is. But we have here a clear contradiction of two Brisas. One Brisa says it's okay to turn away, and the other Brisa says that you have to have a talis mafsekes. So the Gemara explains, Lid Rav Yosef loikashia. According to Rav Yosef, we can answer. These two Brisas are not a contradiction, because ha be'ishtoi, the one that says that he can just turn away and say Kriya Shema, that's with his wife. As Rav Yosef said, with a person's wife, that's okay. And ha ba'achen. And the Brisa that's talking about a person's family, that wasn't including his wife. That was his children, and he doesn't have the same comfort like he has with his wife, so over there he has to have a garment separating between them in order to say Kriya Shema. Elo l'Shmuel, however, according to Shmuel, that says that in any case, whether it's your wife, whether it's another person, whether it's your children, or whoever else it may be, a person may just turn away and say Kriya Shema kashya. It's a question. How could the Brisa over here say that you have to place a talis between them? Amalach Shmuel, so Shmuel responds and says, Rav Yosef minicha, and according to Rav Yosef, is this all well? V'atanya, there's yet another Brisa where it says, Hoya Yasham b'mita, a person is in his bed, Ubanav b'nei beisei b'mita, and his children are in the bed with him, Lo yikra Kriya Shema, he should not read Kriya Shema. And the Gemara understands that this Brisa here, when it says Banav b'nei beisei b'mita, it means with his wife as well, so you can't make that distinction. Why the Gemara understands it that way is not exactly clear. Taisus over here questions that, and Taisus actually says because it's not clear, you have to change the girsa in the Gemara, and instead of reading here Banav b'nei beisai, you have to be guidis that Ishtoi, his wife, is with him. But Rashi is not guidis that way, and there's different mefarshim that explain how exactly you see this. The Pnei Yeshua says in the previous Brisa, it said Banav b'nei beisai b'tzidoi. Right, which seems like they weren't mamish together with him. They were in the bed, but on the side, further away on the side. Over here, it doesn't add the word b'tzidoi, so therefore the Gemara assumes that this means that his wife is along there with him. Okay, so over here it's saying that even with a person's wife, lo yikra Kriya Shema. So this is a question even on the opinion of Rav Yosef, that said that with a person's wife it's okay. Elam kain, so what does it say? You should not read Kriya Shema, Elam kain hoisa talisim afsekes beinayim, unless you put that separation. What are you going to have to say? Ishtoi l'Rav Yosef tanoihi. The halacha that you're allowed to read Kriya Shema even with your wife in bed, it's going to have to be a machlokes tanoim. Well, one Brisa says like this and one Brisa says like that. So Shmuel says, Lididi nami tanoihi. According to me, the heter that I said that any person is allowed to read Kriya Shema with someone else in the bed with him is a machlokes tanoim. And I paskin according to the Tana that says that it's allowed. Now the Gemara returns to this halacha itself. What did it say over here? When two people are facing each other, face to face, then it's not allowed. But if it's back to back, then it is allowed. So the Gemara questions this. Omamar, zeh machzepana v'koyre Kriya Shema, that they turn away from each other and they could say Kriya Shema. Frek the Gemara v'ha'ika gavos. Even if they're not facing each other, but still, even if they're back to back, their behinds are still touching each other, maybe touching each other, and it's still not appropriate to say Kriya Shema in such a situation. So the Gemara says, this would be a proof to what Rav Huna said. The fact that they're not facing each other and they're back to back, there's no erva to this. There's no halacha of erva here, and they may say Kriya Shema. The Gemara says we can yet bring another proof to what Rav Huna said from the following halacha. Ha'isha, a woman, yesheves, v'kaitzel chalasa, a woman that's baking challah, for example, making bread, and she of course has to take off challah and she has to make a bracha to do the mitzvah. So she can do this mitzvah of challah, aruma, even if she's not dressed. What's the reason? Of course this halacha is all regarding the bracha. Is she allowed to make a bracha? There's the halachas of tznius that doesn't allow her to sit in this situation, but we're talking here now about the bracha. But she's allowed to make a bracha because a woman that's sitting on a chair or whatever position she's sitting in, so her erva is covered, and therefore she can make the bracha. But a person that's undressed may not make the bracha because his erva is not covered. So what do you see over here? That the only thing that has to be covered is the erva in the front, but the behind of the person is not an erva, and you could make a bracha. So the Gemara says, not necessarily is this a raya. Tirgem Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak interpreted this case of the woman that can take challah. She was sitting on the ground, and she was sort of in the ground in a way that she was completely covered. The front, behind, she was completely covered, and therefore she can make a bracha. So this case is not a proof. Sagt the Gemara weiter. Now it goes back to what it said before about a person's children. If a person's children are with him in the bed and they're ketanim, so then you could say Kriya Shema. If his children were ketanim, mutter. You're allowed to say Kriya Shema. You don't have to turn away from them. Vat kama. Till what age? If it's a girl, it's till the age of 3. And a tinoik, and if it's a boy, ben teshan of 9 years old. Ikidamri, the second opinion is, and this is the opinion that's brought in Shulchan Aruch, tinoik is bas yiralav shan of mechad, a girl at the age of 11, and tinoik ben shteimes shan of mechad, and a boy from till the age of 12. Idi v'idi, but now the Gemara clarifies, both regarding a boy or a girl, at kidei shadayim nechoinu v'sarech tzemeach. It will only be till the age of maturity. If a girl already matured and her breasts are shown, or by a boy there's hairs, then that age you're not allowed to read Kriya Shema facing them.
So even if they're younger.
Correct. That's what it seems the Gemara is saying here. Amalei Rav Kahana l'Ravashi. So now Rav Kahana said to Ravashi, Hossam Omar Rave. Before, when we were talking about storing the tefillin under the head, so there Rave said, Afagav the Tiyuftu the Shmuel, although we brought a brisa that clearly contradicted what Shmuel said, Hilchasik say the Shmuel. We still passing like Shmuel for the benefit of protecting the tefillin. Hachamai, how about over here? There was the argument of Shmuel and of Yosef, whether you're allowed to read Kriya Shema in bed with another person by turning away. Do we passing like Shmuel as well? Amalei, so Ravashi said, Atu kulu b'chade mechte machtinu. Are all of these halachas, were they all woven with the same weaving? That's the simple taich. Is this all together? Is this all set together? It's not. We don't use the same rule that we're going to passing like Shmuel. Ella, heiche de itmer, where it was said that we passing like Shmuel, that was an exception. And heiche de lo yitmer. Over here that it wasn't said that we passing like Shmuel, not necessarily do we passing like Shmuel.
Do you know the psak?
I believe the psak is like Rav Yosef, that it's only regarding ishte kegufay, but regarding if it's another person, yeah, there has to be a talis beinei. I believe that's the halacha. Amalei Rav Mari Rav Papa. Rav Mari said to Rav Papa, so a person that says Kriya Shema has to cover himself. But how about if a person is covered with such a thin garment, but there's a seir yaitze bebigdai, there's a hairs from the place of the erve that's coming out of the beged, that's shown, that's exposed, is that an exposure that he should not say Kriya Shema? What's the halacha? Kari aleh, so Rav Papa said, sar, it's just a hair. That's not erve. If there's a hair that's exposed, that's not a problem. You could say Kriya Shema. Rav Yitzchak, now the Gemara is going to say different halachas regarding the exposure of a woman's body, that in the presence of that exposure you may not say Kriya Shema or daven, and the Gemara is also going to discuss certain halachas regarding the tznius of a woman. Amalei Rav Yitzchak, so Rav Yitzchak said as follows, Tefach be'isha erve, the exposure of a tefach in a private place of a woman that's usually covered is an erve. So the Gemara now explains. Lamai, regarding what did Rabbi Yitzchak say this statement? Was Rabbi Yitzchak saying this statement regarding that you're not allowed to gaze at a woman in a place that's not sneas? What Rav Sheishis said, Lo mamona kosov tachshitn shebachutz im tachshitn shebefnim. When the Torah talks about, this is in Parshas Matos, when it talks about what they captured over there in the Milchama of Midian, and they had jewelry that they brought, and there are jewelries that are worn on the outside, like a bracelet or a necklace, and then there are jewelries that they also had that are worn in private areas. And the Torah over there counts them together. Why is the Torah putting them together? Lo malachas, to teach you the following lesson. Kol ha-mistakel be'etzba ktana shel isha, one that gazes at even the smallest finger of a woman, Ki'ilu mistakel b'makom ha'teiref. It's as if he's gazing at the private areas of a woman. If someone gazes, and that, as the poskim say, what this means is the isra to gaze at a woman with the kavanah to derive benefit from it, is as if he gazed at the private areas of a woman. So as far as the isra to look, to gaze at a woman, the isra is the same whether it's in private areas or not private areas. So therefore, when Rabbi Yitzchak said tefach be'isha erva, he wasn't referring to this isra of looking at a woman. Ella rather.
The tichel of the tefach here, that's what
It's coming. Wait, it's coming. The Gemara will discuss soon here. It's coming. Ella rather. What was this halacha of Rabbi Yitzchak? Be'ishtay. It's talking about a person's own wife, where there's no issa to gaze at her. Ulikriyashma. He said it for something completely different. When you have an exposure of a private area of a woman, in the presence of that exposure, you're not allowed to say kriyashma. And he said that if the exposure is a tefach, that's not allowed. Omar Rav Chiste, now Rav Chiste said another halacha. Shaik be'isha erva. The shaik of a woman, the exposure of a shaik of a woman is also an erva. So it's the Gemara here doesn't spell out regarding what it's talking about. Some of Farshim say the Gemara again is referring to the halacha of saying kriyashma in the presence of that exposure. And others say that it's not talking about the halacha of kriyashma. It's talking about bachlal, the exposure of a shaik is an erva.
What is shaik?
So I didn't translate it because it's a very, very big argument what the shaik is. The argument is, some say that the shaik is from the thighs to the knee, and others say it's from the knee to the ankle. It's a big machlokes. Let's just finish the Gemara and I'll share with you what it says about this. Shanema, the pasuk says, Gali shaik oivrei naharais, people that are passing through a river and don't want their clothing to get wet, so you uncover your shaik, you lift up your garment. Oksiv, but afterwards the pasuk says, Togel ervascha, you're uncovering erve, v'gam tirech pascha, your disgrace has been shown. So over here, from this pasuk of Gali shaik oivrei naharais, the Mefarshim say it seems that it doesn't refer to the knees, because usually when someone walks through a river, the chayri doesn't have to uncover that area. It's just uncovering lower parts up to the knee. Yeah, but here's the point. So the machlokes, the machlokes is between many paiskim. The Mishnah Brura basically is the only one that's mekel regarding this inyan, and he says that the shaik refers to the knee. Even according to the Mishnah Brura, by the way, though, the shaik means from the thighs to the knee, including the knee. The Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, though, in Siman Ayin Vav, I believe it is, or Siman Ayin Hey, you could check it up, it very clearly says that the shaik is from the knee down to the ankle. Very interesting. I believe so, yeah. The Alter Rebbe says, this is a halacha, what it says over here applies to both. It applies to Hilchas Kriya Shema, and it applies to Hilchas Niyas B'chlal. What has to be covered? What's considered to be erva that has to be covered? The Alter Rebbe's shitta is, and this is the majority opinion in all the paiskim, that there has to be from the shaik to the ankle, from the knee to the ankle. That's the pshat and shaik b'isha over here.
So how do you daven if you're in a public place?
If you're in a public place and there's that exposure, you have to turn away. You have to go in another area. It's like a problem.
And from what age, a child?
So the Alter Rebbe writes in a letter that the halachas of tznius regarding a child begin from age 3, and that's in a famous letter of the Rebbe in Chelik Yud Ches Parshas Balak.
This also applies to the shaik of an animal.
No. Okay, let's go weiter. Omar Shmuel says, Koil be'isha erva. The voice of a woman, and that is specifically if she's singing, not just speaking, but a voice of a woman singing, also has the halacha of an erva, and it's forbidden b'chlal for a man to hear it. And of course, if a woman's singing, you may not daven there. Shanema ki koilcha orev, your voice is sweet. Umarich nova, your appearance is beautiful. So we see that the two things are compared. Amar Rav Sheishes said, Seir b'isha erva. The exposure of the hair of a woman is also an erva. Shanema, as the pasuk says, sa'arech ke'eder ha'izim. Your hair is beautiful, like a group of goats that are walking down a mountain. So this is the source of this inyan, that the exposure of a hair of a woman is also erva.
Someone who's married.
Yeah, correct. That's the halacha, of course. And a chanami, although it's bepashtus, the Gemara is talking about either one, but the minig, of course, is only after marriage, and there's a reason for that. There's a letter where the Rebbe explains that. I don't remember what the husband is. I mean, bepashtus, the union of Seir Bisha Erva is any woman. Yeah, married and not married. But our minig is, of course, that the covering of hair is only after marriage.
If you're composing a Gemara, the way this blot is composed is like...
This is the style of the Gemara. Yeah.
Paste them all together.
Amar Rab Chanina said, Ani ra'isi es Rebbe shetalot tefillov. Now the Gemara goes back to the halacha of tefillin. How do you treat the tefillin, right? Because the whole Gemara, like you said, started over here with the halacha of tefillin. Are you allowed to place it below your head to protect it? So here it comes back to tefillin. So Rab Chanina said, I saw Rebbe that he hung his tefillin from a hook. That's how he stored his tefillin. Meisvei, the Gemara asks, Hatoilet tefillov, one that hangs his tefillin from a hook, Yitlu loy chayav. He's hanging his life on a balance. Darsha Chamure Samru, those that darshan, the very important halacha said, they brought a pasuk that says, "V'hoyu chayecha tluyim l'cha mineged." The pasuk says that your life hangs in a balance. Zat toilet tefillah. This refers to a person that he stores his tefillah by hanging them on a hook. So how could Rebbe have done this? So the Gemara answers, "Loi kashya." This is not a question. The Gemara brings two answers. One answer is ha b'ritzua, ha b'ktzitza. If you're hanging your tefillah from the ritzuas and the bottom are just hanging and dingling, so then that's a problem. But if you're hanging the tefillin and the bottom are there that's on the hook, and it's the ritzuas that are hanging, if you place the bottom on the hook and it's just the ritzuas hanging, that's not a problem. The ktzitza is the bottom. Another answer, no. It's not. This is not. This is not a loishna. This is how we paskin. The second answer, loishna ritzua. It doesn't matter if you hung it from the ritzuas. Loishna ktzitza. Whether you put the bottom on the hook, aser. Either way, it's forbidden. V'chi tala Rebbe. When Rebbe hung his tefillin from a hook, it was because it was bekista tala. It was inside a bag. It was in a tefillin bag. It was covered like we have today. Tefillin is covered in a tefillin bag, and you can hang it on a hook. So the Gemara asks, if that's the case, what's the chiddush? So the Gemara explains, I would think it should have to have a special Aron Kodesh like a Sefer Torah, and it's placed in the Aron Kodesh. Kamash Malan, then that was the chiddush here, that it's not necessary to place tefillin in Aron Kodesh, and it can be stored, hung from a hook, as long as it's covered in the proper covering like we have today.
If you ever see a potato that's inside a bag, you can't put it on a hook?
No. Also. Omer Rab Chanina said, Anira Isias Rebbe. Now we come to halachas of davening, the proper respect that a person should give for davening. Aniri Isias Rebbe. I saw Rebbe when he was davening, and again, davening always refers to Shemay Nesra. Shegiek, that he burped in the middle of Shemay Nesra, Upiek, and he also yawned, V'nes Atesh, and he sneezed, V'rok, and he spit as well. Probably not, but he observed. He was observing Rebbe. You know, the Talmidim, as so Chassidim used to stand and observe the Rebbe, how his davening was. So they would observe Rebbe to see how he was davening, and they'd learn halachas from this. And he saw that Rebbe did these things during davening. And another thing, he would shake off his clothing from the lice. In those times, lice was so common, so he would shake off a lice from his clothing. Now, according to Rashi, this is a separate thing. He's saying, even though all of these things he did in the middle of Shemay Nesra, but if his talus fell off in the middle of Shemay Nesra, he wouldn't stop in the middle of Shemay Nesra to pick up his talus. He would continue davening until the end and then pick up his talus. However, if he had to yawn in the middle of davening, he did he put his hand over his chin. So the Gemara will bring a question on all this. I'll ask you a question from what it says in the Brachos. One that when he davens loud. He says the words of Shemay Nesra loud. He's showing a lack of his emunah, lack of his faith, because he thinks Hashem can't hear him. Someone that davens even louder. He's like a false prophet that he davens mamish loud. Okay? When a person davens Shemay Nesra, he's supposed to daven low. By the way, it says that lo asad lavai, the Rebbe brings this in a sikha, lo asad lavai, one of the chidushim is that then Shemay Nesra will be davened with a loud voice. Okay, yeah. As a whole, I has before, but I just want to add this to bring this interesting inyan. Sagt the Gemara weiter, the Braise weiter, Hamegayik umefayik, one that burps or yawns during Shemay Nesra, harezeh migasi yeruach. He's a balgaivi, he's a gas ruach, in the middle of Shemay Nesra, to burp or to yawn. Hamesatish bitfilasai, and one that sneezes in the middle of his davening, simen raloi. It's not his fault, of course, he had to sneeze, but it's a bad sign. V'yashaymrim, and others even say even harsher, nikish hu mechur. It's recognizable that he's a despicable person in the middle of davening that he had to sneeze. Harok bitfilasai, a person that is spitting in the middle of davening, ki'ilu rak b'fnei hamelech, he's spitting in front of a king. So here we see clearly in these braisa regarding all of these different things that it's forbidden in the middle of Shemay Nesra. How could Rebbe do all of this? So the Gemara explains, when it comes to burping or yawning, it's not a question. In the case of Rebbe, it was involuntarily. And Kan Liritzainai, the Braisa is talking about someone that willingly does it. And that's something that is a gasas ruach in the middle of Shmoyne Esrei. Elo misatish amisatish kashya. Person that sneezes, it's not something that happens by choice, it's something that happens involuntarily. So how are we going to answer the contradiction of the Braisa and what Rebbe said? So the Gemara explains there's two different misatish. Misatish on misatish nami lekashya. The contradiction of misatish is not a question either. Kamel maila, kamel mata. The misatish of Rebbe was when he was sneezing, and the misatish of the Braisa is not sneezing, but it's a person that passes gas in the middle of Shmoyne Esrei.
Is this referencing that it's saying
Lav dafka. No, doesn't seem like it. The Omer Rab Zeire said the following din: Ha milse avlo li beid Rav Hamnuna. This halacha was swallowed. I heard it amongst the words that Rav Hamnuna taught. V'tekilali, and it's very strong to me. It's as valuable to me. Kikuli talmudoi, like everything else I learned. And what is that? What was valuable to him, like everything else he learned? Hamisatish bitfilasai, one that sneezes in the middle of Shmoyne Esrei, simen yafalai. It's actually a good sign for him. What's the good sign? Kishem she'oisen lo nachas ruach mamata. Just as the Eibishter gave him the opportunity to relieve himself and have a good feeling here below to sneeze, kach oisen lo nachas ruach mamayla. That's a sign that the Eibishter is going to give him nachas ruach from above as well. So sneezing in the middle of Shmoyne Esrei is not a problem. So the Mefarshim say Rav Hamnuna was so excited about this statement because he always would sneeze a lot, and including in the middle of davening. So therefore, this was something that was a very, very valuable statement to him. The Gemara goes back to the Braisa. Arok kashya. The question still is about spitting. Spitting is something which definitely happens voluntarily. So how would Rebbe spit in the middle of Shmoyne Esrei if the Braisa says you're not allowed? Kashya, that's a question. So the Gemara answers, arok nami like kashya. Spitting is also not a question because it depends how you're spitting. Efshe k'der Rav Yehuda. It's possible you're allowed to spit in the middle of Shmoyne Esrei if it's disturbing your davening, like Rav Yehuda said. The Omer Rav Yehuda. A person is in the middle of davening when his damen loy roik, and he has spit in his mouth, he has extra saliva in his mouth, and he can't daven. What do? Mavliyai bitalisai. He can spit into his talis, and that's allowed. If he's spitting on the floor, it's not allowed, but into the talis, it's allowed. Vim talis nahu, if he has a nice talis and he doesn't want to spit into his talis, mavliyai bar fakesusai. So then he could spit into some kind of a head covering, and but not on the ground. Now the Gemara says, Ravina havakoy achayre de Ravashi. Ravina was davening and he was behind Ravashi. Nizdamen loyroik, he saw that Ravashi had to spit in the middle of Shmoyne Esrei, and paske la achayre, he spit behind him. Amalei, so he saw Rav Nachman, Ravina that is, said to Ravashi, Leisavale mar lahod Rav Yehuda, do you not agree to what Rav Yehuda said, Mavliya ba'afakesusai, that you should not spit on the floor in the middle of Shmoyne Esrei, but only spit into your garment? So Amalei answered him, Ano anine datoi. I am very, very delicate, and to spit into my clothing is something that I can't handle. So therefore, you're allowed to spit behind you. So that's another. So to spit in front of you is not allowed, but if you're spitting behind you in the middle of Shmoyne Esrei, that is allowed. The Gemara now goes back to the halacha that we had before, that was brought in the Braisa, that when you daven Shmoyne Esrei, you shouldn't raise your voice. Hamashmiya koile b'tfilasa ereza mektani amona. If you raise your voice, you're showing that there's a lack of faith. Rav Huna said, Lo Yishanu, this was only said, if while you're saying the words quietly, you can still concentrate and have kavanah in Shmoyne Esrei. If while you're saying the words quietly, you can't have kavanah, as we know, davening loud helps a person with kavanah, mutter. It's permitted to daven Shmoyne Esrei loud. But the Gemara adds immediately, that's only if you're davening privately. Aval b'tzibur, when you're davening in a shul in mitzibur, asil mitrat tzibura, it's going to disturb others in their davening, so therefore you may not daven and raise your voice when you daven Shmoyne Esrei, and that's the halacha. Shmoyne Esrei is the main place where we're very concerned that a person should have more kavanah. Right, so you're right, a person should have kavanah in the entire davening, but Shmoyne Esrei is mamish ka'imud l'fnei ha'melech, ka'avde kamimori, so here we're especially concerned about a person's kavanah. Rab Abba have a komishtamit minei Rav Yehuda. Rab Abba was trying to avoid Rav Yehuda. Why was he trying to avoid him? To have a kaboila meisik la'aretz Yisrael. He was living in Bavel, but he wanted to move and go to Eretz Yisrael. and he didn't want to meet Rav Yehuda. The Amar Rav Yehuda, because Rav Yehuda said, Kol ha'olam mi Bavel Eretz Yisrael, anybody that leaves from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael, oiver be'esa. It's like you're being oiver on an essa. It's not actually a essa from the Taryag Mitzvahs, but it's like you're being an oiver on an essa. And he brought a pasuk. Shanema, the pasuk says, Bavela Yuvo, the Yidden are going to be brought to Bavel, V'shama Yu, and they will remain there, Ad Yoim Pakti Yoisam, until the day that I'll remember Yidden and redeem them from Galus Noam Hashem, says Hashem. And the reason for this is a whole sugya in Ksubis. The reason for this is because Bavel was then the center of Torah. All the yeshivas, that was the place of Torah. And going to Eretz Yisrael where there wasn't that level of Torah, so you're leaving a center of Torah to go to a place where you don't have the same Torah, he said it's forbidden. That was Rav Yehuda's opinion. So Omar, Rab Abba said, Ezel ve'eshma minei milsa mi beis vada. Let me go on to the Beis Medrash. While he's teaching, I won't have to approach him personally. I'll hear a halacha that he's teaching, and then v'hadar apik, and I'll leave and I'll go to Eretz Yisrael without saying a goodbye to him. Ozal, he went to the Beis Medrash, Ashkechele Tane, the Tani Kamei Rav Yehuda, and he found the Tana that was teaching in front of Rav Yehuda the following halacha. Oh, ya'oimid b'tfilah, if a person is in the middle of davening, v'nis atesh, and he has to pass his gas, mamtin, he has to wait, he has to stop Shmei Nasra, at sheyichla ruach, until the bad odor dissipates, v'chayzer mispalel, and then he could continue his davening. Ikidamri, others say that the halacha that was taught was as follows. If he's in the middle of davening a bikish leis atesh, and he feels like he has to pass gas. Marchik la'chayrav dalar ames, he walks away from where he is 4 ames, umis atesh, and he can pass gas. Mamtin at sheyichla haruach, and he has to wait until the odor passes. V'chayzer umispalel, and then he can continue davening. But v'oimer, he says the following short prayer to the Eibishter. Rebbeinu Shalom, Master of the universe, Yitzar Tonu, you have created us. Nekavim, Chalulim, Chalulim, you have created us with openings, with cavities. Goliv Yadu Alefanecha. It's open and revealed to you. Cherpaseinu, Chlimaseinu, our disgrace and our embarrassment, Bechayenu, in our lifetime, Abachriseinu, and after our life. Rima V'Teleya, after we pass away, so then we become disintegrated in the ground. That's the tefillah that a person says if he has to pass gas in the middle of Shmei Nesra. Umaschil mimakim sheposak, and then he goes back to his place and he continues Shmei Nesra from the place where he stopped.
Goes back to his place?
Yeah, goes back to his place and continues Shmei Nesra.
Doesn't mention about the tefillin.
Nothing. No. This is about Shmei Nesra here. Omar lei. So now Rab Abba that came and heard this halacha, he commented and said that Ilu, or Omar, he said, Ilu loy basi elo l'shmaya doveh daye. If I came to the Beis Medrash only to hear this halacha, it was all worth it. And this is halacha l'mayis, although today we're not noyig this way. It's brought in Paiskin, we're not noyig this way, but this is...
We don't say this tefillah.
Correct. With Payal, we're not noyig this way. Although it is brought in Shulchan Aruch, but with Payal, we're not noyig this way. Tana Rabbanon, we learned in Abraise. So over here, this is the halacha of a person saying Kriya Shema, and a person has to have a separation between his heart and the erve in order to be able to say Kriya Shema. Let's see the halacha. Hoya yashem betalisai. A person is sleeping in his bed under his blanket, and it's freezing cold. He can't take out his head to say Kriya Shema because he's so cold. So what do? You're not dressed and you're under your blanket. Are you allowed to say Kriya Shema there? So the first opinion is take that blanket, tighten it around your neck, so there should be a separation between your head and the erva, and you could say Kriya Shema. The second opinion is aliboy. You have to tighten the blanket below your heart, that it should be a separation between your heart and the erva, and you could say Kriya Shema. So the Gemara asks, V'Tanakama, now according to the Tanakama, you're tightening the blanket between by your neck, between your head, between your mouth, and the erve, but still there's an exposure from your heart to the erve. So the Gemara answers, Kasavar, this Tana holds liboy royes erve mutter, that even if there's an exposure, that the heart can see the erve, it's still allowed. We of course don't paskin this way. We paskin like the opinion that says that there has to be a separation between the heart and the erve, and the reason is, I believe the Alter Rebbe says on Shulchan Aruch, when a person says Kriya Shema, it's Kabbalah Sel Malchus Shemayim. Where does that come from? It comes from your heart, not only from your mind, but it comes from your heart. B'chol levavcha. So therefore, your heart, which is dedicating itself to Hashem, should be separated, and there should be tznius separated from the erve. Omer Avona, Omer Rabbi Yechanan, how about another din? Hoya Mahalach, in a different case, which applies to this inyan, of a person saying Kriya Shema in the right environment. Hoya Mahalach b'mavoyis hamatunafos. A person is walking in alleyways which are dirty with tsaya, whatever it may be, that he shouldn't say Kriya Shema. So what do? Maniach yadei al piv. All you have to do actually is cover your mouth. The Kriya Shema. And you could say Kriya Shema. What's the point of covering your mouth? So some Mefarshim say you cover your mouth so people shouldn't see that you're saying Kriya Shema. So it's a certain respect for the Kriya Shema. You cover your mouth and you could say Kriya Shema even in places where there's tzaya, where there's all kinds of things that are unclean for Kriya Shema. That was Rav Huna's opinion in the name of Rabbi Yechanan. Amalei Rav Chisda responded and said, Holikim, I swear in the name of Hashem, Im Amrali Rabbi Yechanan bepumei, even if Rabbi Yechanan would tell it to me directly, loit saysanale, I wouldn't listen to this halacha. In other words, Rav Chisda held, when you're in these places that are so dirty, you're not allowed to say Kriya Shema. Okay, so we have a machlokes here. Ikeda Amri, others say the same machlokes, but in the name of another Amayra. Amar Rabba Baba Chana, Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi. It was said in the name of Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Hoya Malach ben Mevoyes Hamatunofes Maniach Yadi Al Piv V'Koyre Kriya Shema. You cover your mouth and you could say Kriya Shema. Amalei Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda responded the same way. Ha'alekim, I swear in the name of Hashem. Im Amrali Rabbi Shua ben Levi Bepumei Loit Saysan Alei. Even if I would hear it directly from him, I wouldn't say Kriya Shema.
That's intense.
Yeah. So now we have this machlokes here between Rav Huna and Rav Chisda, whether you're allowed to say Kriya Shema in muvois hamatunafos. Now the Gemara asks on this, so mi Amar Rav Huna hachi, did Rav Huna in fact say that it's permitted? For Amar Rav Huna said, Talmud Chacham also leilamed b'makom hatinofos. A Talmud Chacham should not stand and not stay in a place where there's all these tinofos that he's not allowed to say. They're not allowed to say Kriya Shema. And he actually said the reason is lefi she'i efshel leilamed b'lo hirer Torah, because a Talmud Chacham wants to have the ability to think Torah wherever he goes, and if he stands in those places, he's not even allowed to think Torah, right? So obviously, if you're not allowed to think Torah, you shouldn't be allowed to say Kriya Shema. So how does Rav Huna say that you're allowed to say Kriya Shema? So the Gemara answers like kasha. No, it's not a question. Kam ba'oimit, kam b'mahalach. Over here he said you shouldn't stand and stay there and say Kriya Shema or think Torah. If you're passing through, you're walking in the street, you have a walk and you're walking in the street and you're passing through, that is allowed to say Kriya Shema or to think Torah. Now the Gemara questions on Rabbi Yechanan's opinion. Umi Yom Rabbi Yechanan hachi, did Rabbi Yechanan say that you're allowed to say Kriya Shema in a place which is mitinoifis? V'am Rabbi Baba Chana, Am Rabbi Yechanan, b'chol mokei mutar lahara v'divrei Torah. A person may think words of Torah anywhere. Chutz mi beis hamerchatz, if you're in a bathhouse, and Mefarshim say it's not just a bathhouse, but it's a place where there's things that are dirty that doesn't allow you to think Torah. Umi beis hakisei, and in the place of a beis hakisei. So you see clearly that Rabbi Yechanan holds you're not allowed to think Torah in such places. For sure, not Kriya Shema. So you want to give the same answer. Kam ba'imit, kam b'mahalach. Make the same distinction between a person that's standing there or a person that's just passing through. Eini, is this true? The Gemara brings the following incident. Rabavo was following and walking along with Rabbi Yechanan. And Rabavo was saying Kriya Shema. When they came to the dirty alleyways, ishtik. He stopped saying the Kriya Shema. Amalei Rabbi Yechanan, and Rabavo asked Rabbi Yechanan, since I stopped Kriya Shema in the middle, I want to go back to Kriya Shema. Where should I go back to? Amalei Rabbi Yechanan said to him, if you waited long enough that it takes to finish the whole Kriya Shema, go back to the beginning. And if not, you can go back to where you are. So we clearly see that Rabbi Yechanan responded to him and he agreed that he had to stop saying Kriya Shema. Rabbi Yechanan didn't tell him, why did you stop saying Kriya Shema? So the Gemara explains, this is what Rabbi Yechanan was telling him. I disagree with your whole conduct. I hold that you could have continued saying Kriya Shema. But lididach, the svirlach, you that hold that you're not allowed to say Kriya Shema there, if you waited long enough that you could have said the whole Kriya Shema, you have to go back to the beginning. So we remain with this machlokes between Rav Huna and Rav Chisda, whether you're allowed to say Kriya Shema in the street when you're walking in an alleyway where there's a bunch of garbage and dirt, which could apply today even as well, whether you're allowed to say Kriya Shema as well.
You know the psak?
I believe the psak is that you are not allowed. I believe that's the psak. I don't want to make a mistake. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, let's see the conclusion. Just another line, another few lines over here. Tanya Kavasa de Ravona. There's one brayse that backs up Rav Huna's opinion. Tanya Kavasa de Rav Chiste. There's another opinion that backs up another one that backs up Rav Chiste's opinion. Tanya Kavasa de Rav Huna. Hamahalach b'mavois hamutunofais maniach yadi al piv. Just place your hands on your mouth. Yikra kriyashma. You could say kriyashma. Tanya Kavasa de Rav Chiste. Another opinion clearly said like Rav Chiste. Hoya mahalach b'mavois hamutunofais lo yikra kriyashma. You should not say kriyashma. And there the Braisa adds v'lo yoid el shemaya kairu ba. If you're in the middle of reading kriyashma, paisik, you have to stop. Loi pasek, and if you did not stop what happens? Amar Rab Miyashe bar Bereida Rab Yeshua ben Levi, all of akasav Omer, regarding this person that reads Kriya Shema in these dirty areas, it says, V'gam anina satilem chukim le'tovim u'mishpatim layichi behem. This is fulfilling mitzvahs in a way that you will not live, and you're fulfilling mitzvahs in a way that it's not good for you. Rabasi brought another pasuk for this. Hoi moishchei ha'ovain b'chavli hashav. You're bringing avedis upon yourself with these cords that are very, very weak, very false cords. In other words, a person, just the words, saying Kriya Shema in such a place which seems to be something so minuscule, but still this is an aveda that you're bringing upon yourself. Another pasuk it says, Kidvar Hashem baza. You're embarrassing Hashem's words, saying Kriya Shema in such a place. V'im pasak. If a person sees the dirt around him and he stops saying Kriya Shema, mas charay, what's his reward? Amar Abavo, olav akasav oimer, ubidavar hazet tarichu yamim. That with this, for these things, and davar means the dibur, that you're careful when you speak words of Kriya Shema and not to say it in a place where it's dirty, you'll have long life.
Very applicable if you have a child with a diaper.
That's correct. Child with a diaper, or you're walking in the street, and all of a sudden there's a dog left on the street, and it's right in front of you. You should stop saying Kriya Shema. It's definitely very applicable today.
Stuff, not just stamp garbage.
That's correct.
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 All over the place.
Correct. Yes.
The
Yes.
psak would seem to be like that you're not allowed to.
Correct. Did I say before you are allowed
That's what
to?
he said. No,
Well,
that's
you
what he said.
question whether.
Yeah, but I believe the halach is that you're not
Mishpat,
allowed
he
to.
brings
Yeah.
on
I'm
ayin,
pretty sure that's the
the
halach.
letter
Yeah.
ayin by
Yeah,
that
I see.
part.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
mashma that that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
psak, right?